Hey guys, welcome back to another devlog, and I'm not actually sure where we got up to last time, so I'm just going to say that I'm pretty sure we went over the health drink, so since then we have finished the arcade half of the bowling room, and that was done. Obviously created the health drink, and then moved on to the rest of the bar, so yes, just a simple bar design really, where it holds bowling shoes, the balls, and drinks as well. There's only one health drink to try and limit how many, so otherwise the player could just endlessly live against the humanoid enemy in there. But yeah, it's just a simple design really. I used the same assets that I've used for the rest of the rooms in the house, and the metal bar I took from the original one and put it behind the bar now as well. I also made tills as well, just to infuse it a bit more, I suppose. Then I put in bar stools to obviously really infuse that feeling, and left some gap so people can just walk up. Like the player can get the idea that the people can walk up to the till and buy what they need and go again, rather than having to sit there and with the rest of the people they're drinking. Obviously, I still had room to the right of that, so I made pool tables and pool sticks in Blender. The pool sticks look more like drumsticks, but we'll leave it for the minute. And obviously in the back wall there's graffiti and holders that you get, so obviously you can put the sticks in there once the player is finished. But obviously they are stationary objects, the player cannot use them. The only thing I would do is probably add balls to the table, but for the minute it's okay as it is. I also had issues with the textures for this, so when I exported it in Blenders you can see if this is supposed to be yellow but there's some lighting issue with it. Even when I take away the lighting on the flashlight for the player, it's still a bit iffy. So I'll have to look at that before I wrap up the project. So obviously overall, this is the room. Yeah, obviously I've just gone over it. There wasn't many challenges that I had to face. It was quite literally just making the level. It was all design work. There was no coding or anything. I'd copy and pasted the bowling balls. The player can just take any of those ones if they want to. And yeah, as I say, the pool tables are stationary. And then we went through and I wrapped up the bowling room. That's finished now. So when I eventually get to that, it's fun. You guys can see it anyways. You can go bowling. You can use all of them. There's graffiti on the walls as well to sort of give that an old feeling, American feeling sort of thing. And yeah, you can walk right down to the end. Obviously, there's nothing there, but which actually leads me to the next point, which is the actual door that you need to escape the house. Is the button is actually behind the skittles, so the player is actually infused to play bowling to see that the button is behind the skittles and be like, oh, let's go press the button. But it doesn't actually tell them that it's unlocked a door, so they'll just have to explore and use their curiosity, which is part of my game's theme, to to find out that is the exit sort of thing. So it could have gone in another room that the player needed to. So obviously the player needed to go further, but I felt like it'd be quite fun to have the button behind the skittles. So as you can see here, the player has to. That door is locked. The button's moved since then, but the door says find the button. Press the button. Button goes in. Obviously try not take any damage. And then since this video as well, there is a portal that teleports you to the next level after this. So one of the other rooms is a maze, so obviously rather than just going in blind and making a maze, I suppose, out of thin air and possibly leading to dead ends left, right and centre and actually connecting it properly, I thought I'd plan it out so the player starts down at the bottom and in the middle, and then yeah, it's just a simple maze plan. And then hidden is there's 2 collectibles and a weapon that the player can find in there, so it is rewarding if they do go into the maze. But obviously they don't know how to escape the level so far, so they're not directly told, so they're going to have to explore anyway. So this is the bow and arrow. So the player has to explore the maze. and then they find the bow and arrow, which is a more realistic weapon, because obviously the house level is more realistic than that of the other levels in my game. So I created the bow and arrow in Blender. It was quite easy. There was no problems there. Obviously, major room gameplay, we've just been over that. So then there I wanted to make a more parkour based room, because house didn't actually have that much parkour or movement abilities in it that's like demonstrated. So I thought having a room dedicated just to parkour would be quite cool. And for a theme of that room, I was stuck really. So I went towards a more Mustafar themed Star Wars room. So the floor is quite literally lava, and the whole room is sort of designed as if it's on Mustafar, but within the house's walls. So it's all not only infusing the peculiarity of the room, but so like you walk through this door and you don't expect there to be rocks and natural and robots flying and a lightsaber and a coin, and you just don't expect it. So it's infusing the peculiarity theme within curiosity. I made a lightsaber because obviously it's Star Wars themed. I made the droid for it, so I thought that a lightsaber could be quite cool for it. It's Darth Vader inspired, obviously, because Mustafar is technically where he was born. And then you can see it's not as rewarding as the other rooms, and then I've separated all this out as well, so the room isn't as big. So obviously the player goes through, and there's rocks to parkour on, so they can go either left or right, so it's still rewarding either way. See the robots that they can jump on, just like in Anakin in Revenge of the Sith. And the lava is emissive as well, so not only is they got the flashlight, but it also gives an eerie feeling as they can. And the lightsaber is swingable as well, so it's just like the cube sword from Cubes. So yeah, that's that, and then obviously this area as well. So there's been quite a lot of progression today. Obviously for that area outside of the floor is lava room, I wanted to make it just fit in with the normal house theme, to be honest. So each room is individual, not like the house as a whole. So I made a table and chairs and put some candles on there, so it's like an eerie sort of feel with the flashlight combined as well. I then used the bookshelf model I made, and I think I did that in Blender as well, and just littered the sort of the place with it. So the player has to crouch underneath the right hand side in order to get access to the floor as lava, and that's also the escape door as well. I boarded up the door to the left because I realised how little time I have for this project, and it was a really awkward sized room anyway before I started splitting it up and stuff. So I felt like if I boarded it up, it sort of tells a story to the player anyway. I feel like I could have probably added more detail to this level, but since due to time restrictions and stuff, and obviously I'd have to model all the stuff that I would put into it, and that would take hours of work. So I thought I'd rather get enough levels out that have detail, and obviously all the rooms have a lot of detail in them anyway, and the whole house level has had a lot of work done to it. It's probably had a few weeks worth of work. So having that one corner not have as much as the rest of the level won't affect my grade. So I decided against it. So obviously that means that house was finished. So yep, the house is finished. There's all the collectibles are in it. Everything works perfectly in it. Obviously the player's a bit more parkour here, so they can get the coin. But yeah, I won't spoil it for you. But yeah, house is complete now. And then that means that I worked on radioactive level. So my first protocol was I designed the level itself, but obviously since the level is a bit smaller than what I planned, I wanted to make it sort of an arena fight area, so combining the Wonderland boss fight with radioactive, so that it seems as if radioactive is the last level, when it's obviously not, but it just gives the feel like obviously having a boss fight at the end of the game. So I made the fart gun. So this was always going to be in radioactive. I didn't want to settle for any less. So yeah, the player picks it up. It shoots the same projectiles as the water gun, but obviously where the lighting's green, I felt like it didn't actually matter, and it's quite a suitable projectile anyway for it. So obviously I made this in Blender as well. And yeah, so I need to fix the fact that when you shoot the acid puddles on the floor, it does damage you. But other than that, yeah, it's quite simple to design radioactive. So on the bottom here you can see there's a video as well. But there's two different types of parkour lanes. one of them is a troll, so you actually have to do more work than just simple parkour to get to the key. So I'm going to try and make it so that cube that I just walked past, up there, up on the top, when the enemy dies, when the boss dies, that cube will disappear, and then the player can go climb their way back up to the basically start of the level and do that parkour efficiency, so then they can get the key and leave. So it is properly infused boss fight. They have to do it, sort of thing. And in order to make them go down and do it, that is a false floor. So then they're forced into... There's no way up at the minute, because obviously it's just my first day of design. But for the minute, yeah, it's just a false floor. You have to restart the game to get back onto it. So yeah, we've had a fair bit of progress today. Finished house and started radioactive, which is actually going to be the last level of my game, because I have 2 days left before production ends, and I have to start by sending out my game, getting feedback, evaluating my game, etc. So I'll probably still be working on this after the project's handed in, so I can work on Wonderland and probably work more on house and work more on radioactive to make them exactly what I planned them to be. But for this project, I feel like they are still going to be as of standard. I feel that a good standard that will get me a high grade because of how much detail and work that will still be put into them. But yeah, no issues this week. I feel quite more confident using blueprints this week. I've just been making weapons easily, just whipping them out in a couple of minutes now. And damaged floors and stuff like that, and the door, it's just all simple blueprint stuff that I've gotten so used to making now that it all sort of just comes to me when I start it. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next vlog.